Bottle, the design was patented in 1915. I think that's the main thing of it, but just how long it took to get that patent, I don't know, and I don't know of any way of finding out. Because at that time, I was making drawings by the dozens. Every week, I'd turn out several drawings where I'd make up certain designs. So many customers would write in, and would want a special design for their soft drink. Then I would have to get busy on the drawing board and make those designs. I'm sorry that I didn't keep a mess of them, but at that time I was just part of my job, you see, for designing and things like that. Made a lot of wood models. So, as I say, the reason I don't have the date on that, because that was just another job for me. And I didn't know it was going to turn out to be an outstanding thing, That Coca-Cola bottle is known internationally. Anyway, one day I got a telephone call in my office from Mr. Root out of the main office. And he always says, "Earl, can you come in a minute?" Of course, he's like an admiral. He's a wonderful guy, and I'd always say, "Yes, sir." I'd be in there in the next 2 minutes. And when I went in there sat Clyde Edwards, Alex Samuelson, Roy Hurt, and Mr. Root. So anyway, Mr. Root had a letter from the Coca-Cola company. He said that you want to get all the department heads in there. Head, of course, I don't mean the packing room, but there's such as superintendents, like in my line and so forth. Because the Coca-Cola people wanted a design could be recognized even by anyone just by feeling having the bottle in their hand, or as far as they could see it, to be recognized as a Coca-Cola bottle. And said that all plants in the United States were getting the same form of litter, such as over in Nestor and Owens, Illinois, and so it was a matter of competition. And he jokingly said, whoever comes up with a design that we can submit to them will get a leather medal. Because that was a joke, no such thing as a leather medal. So anyway, Alex Samuelson, he was a Swede, and he asked some question, and he says, what is Coca-Cola made of? And he's broken Swede. Now this is the first, last, and only word or thing or action that he had connected to that Coca-Cola bottle. So, of course, we didn't know. Mr. Root says, Earl says, I want you and Clyde, that's Clyde Edwards, I'll have Roy take you up to the library to look it up and see what you can find. Roy Grimsley was a chauffeur. So we went up in Mr. Root's big limousine. It was a Peerless. So we went up there, and Clyde, of course, he was more in that line than anybody else. Alex Samuelson didn't even go with us. And so Clyde, that was more in his line to look up anything like that. Finally, he found that it was in a book of reference, which could not be taken away from the library. So he showed it to me, and I said, I'll just make it. He showed it, and I showed that a little pot in that book, in that library book, and that little pot was undersized, that is, illustration, was only about 2 inches high, and it was read about it, says it grows on a large tree, and of course that pot is much bigger than the 2 inches, remember, don't say it, because it's more like a size of a cucumber or something like that. It had convolutions around it, much like cantaloupe. And it had the pinch in there like a Coca-Cola bottle. And then, of course, the top it had a stem on it, just like a come from a squash or anything else, So I said to Clyde, I said, I'll make a copy, a drawing of this pod here, and then take it down and see what we can do about making it in the shape of a bottle that Mr. Root so desires. So that's what I did, and told Mr. Root that it could be very well transformed into a bottle up there at the top where, like a gourd or squash where the stem come out, could make the size of a bottle and have a finish up the ring where the cap goes on it. Well, he was very much enthused and said, can you think you could have that done in time so we get a mold made before the fire goes out? Because the fire went out in just a matter of a couple of 3 days there, But according to Union, the bottles, all the manufacturing bottles that are making bottles will stop right on the deadline at noon at one certain date there, And so I worked, I went home that night. I started on making designs and kind of progressive, trying to get a line out, figuring out how I was going to do it and what I was going to do, making notes. I went home that night and took all of the drawing instruments and everything with me to make that drawing. And I was bilious. I was sick I was sick. I just went to bed and thought I'd get up early the next morning, which I did. I started the next morning at 4 o'clock, and I worked on it till my mother got up. She got up 6 o'clock, fixed my breakfast, and set it on the other side of the table. So I changed seats and ate my breakfast, and worked a little bit more on the drawing, then grabbed up everything, got down to the shop to get the men started off at 7 o'clock, and then I finished the drawing in my little office there, and had it done before Mr. Root got down to his office. He'd get down there around about 9 or 9:30. So I had it finished up, and I took it in to him and showed him, and he was very much pleased. And he says, now Earl says, you think you can get a mold made before the fire goes up? So I told him, I said, I'll do the best I can. Well, that's fine. If you say you do the best you can, why, he was very well satisfied with that. And when the fire goes out, you have to get, wind up. The fire goes out, that means no more bottles made after a certain hour, which is noon, on a certain date. Then they would empty the tanks. It would be 150 tons in each tank of molten glass, just like a heavy molasses. That'd be run out into a great big pit. But give them a chance then to repair the tanks, after they cool off. So anyway, I went back out to the shop there and got the mold started right from the rough. After I had the preliminaries made on a shaper and a surface grinder and the lathe, which bored a blank hole in the center of the two halves of the cast iron mold. Then I started on it, and I worked on that then the rest of the day without any stops till 2 o'clock the next morning. Then that made, I worked on it till I could see daylight and see that I could get done before and get it out there in the factory where they get a sample bottles made before the fire went out. And that made exactly 22 hours I worked on that thing, from drawing on the mold. Of course, I wasn't done then. I didn't do it because it took several more hours after that. But I did work on that 22 hours straight with no stop. I went home at 2 o'clock that morning and got back early the next morning and started on it again, because cutting with a hammer and chisel, all those convolutions, lettering and everything, panels, there was a lot of work there to do. But anyway, I did get it finished up and got it out in the factory just about 11:30. Well, it took about 20 minutes at least to get that mold hot before the bottles would be presentable, because a bottle made in a cold mold would be all bubbly and wavy, and distorted like in the surface. So anyway, we made just a few Coca-Cola, the first Coca-Cola bottles we made in those last 15 minutes or something like that. Now I have one of them here in the safe. I made that drawing, get back to the drawing, made that drawing in two made the front and back of the bottle. Attorney Hood came over, patent attorney from Indianapolis, and he looked it over, and I was in there, just Mr. Root and the attorney and me. And so he took Mr. Root's long scissors he had. I'm seeing yet, he cut that right in the center and handed me one half the drawing and said, now this is all we need to send to Washington to get the patent. It was sent to Washington, D.C. It was patented on, 1915. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, why the Coca-Cola company accepted, chose our design over all the other dozens of different bottles were sent in.